Welcome to Dog Food TV. This is a continuation of our video of the analysis of Jim Schwartz and his run defense. We're going to look at his tenure with the Eagles as a defensive coordinator from 2016 to 2020. Before we get started, this video is sponsored by Dawg Food. You can find that at dogfoodstore.com, www.dogfoodstore.com. I'm wearing a CLE snapback and a hoodie that you will find available a little bit later in the season. Nerd hoodie is available for sale right now, and we got some other material or apparel that will be dropping very soon as the season goes on. So be on the lookout for that. So let's get right into it on our Jim Schwartz analysis of the Eagles. Now, we looked at the Titans when he was with them as a defensive consultant in the last video, and their run defense in 2021 was number 2. In 2022, it was number 1. Now, their pass defense was 32nd in the league last year. And I called one of my partners that's a big Tennessee Titans fan, and we talked about that. I showed him the video, and he basically said they had some injuries to the secondary. They lost like 4 or 5 corners. So they were signing guys off the street, which makes sense. Browns had a bunch of injuries to the linebacking unit. I mean, that tends to wreck a defense. But he mentioned that Jim Schwartz was still able to make the necessary adjustments where the defense just didn't completely fall apart because they still had Jeffrey Simmons, some of the other guys on the line. So even with that, they still had a number 1 run defense. And they started out 7-3, and all they had to do was win 1 game or 2 games. I think they lost their last 7 and missed the playoffs. So they were still within striking distance to make it to the playoffs. Now, you could say that that's because the AFC South isn't as tough as some of the other divisions. We get that, but whatever. You still got to win the games. You got to play in the division that you play in, whatever. So what did Jim Schwartz do with Philadelphia? Well, obviously, we know that they won a Super Bowl. We're going to get into those stats in a second. Let's start with the 2016 Philadelphia Eagles. I'll put my glasses on so I can see this screen. All right. Eagles defensive stats 2016. They were number 12 in team defense, number 13 in pass defense, number 15 in run defense. They had 34 sacks. That would have been good for 17th. They had 16 INTs. That would have been good for 9th. And they allowed 103 yards per game on the ground. So, middle of the road defense, but definitely you can work with that. You can build with that. Let's go to 2017. Team defense, number 4. Pass defense, number 17. What is the big stat? Number 1 run defense. You see the asterisk at the bottom, Super Bowl champions. They had 38 sacks that season, 16th in the league, 19 interceptions, good for 4th. They allowed 79.2 yards per game. Now, run defense is extremely, I just don't think it's talked about enough, because run defense allows you to control the line of scrimmage. It allows you to force the defense to make a decision. If they can't run the ball, they're either going to stick with it just to try to keep you honest, or they're going to abandon it and just pass. Either way, it works in the defense's favor, because you know why? You can't run it. Run the play action if you want to. We don't care. We're not fooled by that. We don't have to bite on that. So that is one of the things that Jim Schwartz, he's the key, because this season, 2023, obviously this is the best roster most people would say since they came back in 99. You have Myles Garrett, elite pass rusher. He's going to the Hall of Fame. You don't want to waste his career playing on defenses that can't stop the run. Because if Myles Garrett is able to play on a defense that can stop the run, that's going to make him that much more of an effective pass rusher, if you can believe that. That's scary. Combine that with Zadarius Smith, some of the other additions. If this team can stop the run consistently to where the run isn't a factor, and you're making teams either be one-dimensional or stick with the run just because, Not a situation where they run it on you 13 times or 10 times, however many times that the Falcons ran it in a row. No. They wouldn't even think to run it 10 times on you, because a team's only going to run it 10 times if they're getting 4 or 5 yards of carry. If they're getting 1 yard of carry, they're not doing that. So let's go to 2018. Jim Schwartz, they had a 12th ranked team defense. Pass defense was 30th. Run defense was 7th. Now, for some reason, I can't find blitz statistics earlier than 2018, so that's why you're seeing that on this particular slide here, but they blitzed 16% of the time. That wasn't particularly high compared to the rest of the league, but they had 44 sacks that year. It would have been good for 10th. 10 INTs. They allowed 96.9 yards per game on the ground. Now, run defense, again, if I'm building a team, I would rather have a good run defense and a bad pass defense, because I'm eliminating the play action by doing that. I'm not going to be fooled. So, again, you see the consistency here, 2016, 15th run defense, 2017, first run defense, 2018, 7th run defense. Let's go to 2019. Again, 15th team defense, pass defense 19th. What do you see there? Run defense, number 3. Blitz 26.8% of the time, 43 sacks, it's good for 13th, 11 INTs, would have been good for 22nd, and then 90.1 yards per game allowed. Let's go to 2020, COVID year. 20th ranked defense, pass defense was ranked 15th, run defense was ranked 23rd. Now, obviously, that is a large drop-off. I'll have to find any of my peers that are Philadelphia Eagles experts that can kind of explain the drop-off there, whether it was injuries or just COVID or whatever it might have been. But in 4 years, he had 1, 2, 3 top 10 run defenses. So I'm sorry, in 5 years, he had 3 top 10 run defenses. I don't think the Browns have had 3 top 10 run defenses since 1999. I'm going to go look it up, but I'm almost certain that they have not. Run defense, not team defense, not pass defense. I'm talking about run defense. So what does that mean for 2023? If you remember what I said in the first video, I expect this team to be a top 10 run defense. Again, what were they in 2022? Let's take a look. They were 25th in the run. Myles Garrett, Zadarius Smith, Shelby Harris, Dalvin Tomlinson, Jim Schwartz, rotating guys, keeping guys fresh. This team should be top 10, not fringe top 10. They should be firmly cemented in the top 10, if not top 5 in run defense. And that's what I fully expect, because, again, Jim Schwartz has proven that, right? You know, there's certain coaches that they're just offensive gurus. That's what they do. They're always going to put up numbers. You have certain coaches that are good at defense. Jim Schwartz has proven that his run defense is up to the task. And he's done it with a bunch of different players. He's done it in different eras. So if you're a Browns fan, I think you're not off base if you're excited and optimistic. And, you know, sports journalism in general, sports talk, has gotten away from really diving into the stats, trying to figure out the context of those stats, and they really just run with narratives. And we know what the narrative is on the Browns. But with this particular team, the roster on paper, with Jim Schwartz coming in, again, I believe they're going to be a top 10 run defense. There's a good chance that changes this season. We're going to be back. We're going to be talking about predictions for the game against the Bengals. And we have some other content, run defense related content coming up for you. But definitely thank you for tuning in to Dog Food TV, this installment. And again, this is sponsored by Dog Food, the brand. You can find that at www.dogfoodstore.com. And again, we don't have to wait long to see what this run defense is going to look like. We got less than 4 days now. So good night to you, or good morning, whatever time you're watching this, and we'll see you on the next one.